Welcome to Balahdan, a show with an accent for those without one. A lot of reaction to what happened in France, the Charlie Hebdo attack, massacre of journalists, freedom of speech, reaction of the reaction from the media, from the West accusing Islam, Muslims, a lot of things flying on now, and it really indicates that we really have a long way to understand the real reality that we live in. We have here a very special guest. We have here Jaylani Hussein, is a new Executive Director of CAIR, and you know CAIR is a civil rights organization, and they are in the midst of all of this. Welcome to Balahdan, Jaylani. It's interesting every time. There is some idiots or some Muslim, whatever, criminals misbehave. As Muslim Americans, we are expected to apologize. We are expected to condemn. We are asked to, why can't the moderate Muslim do this? And all that stuff. Every time we are. So I don't want to condemn. I'm tired of being asked to condemn people. I mean, it's a horror act. But for me, it's a chance to understand what's going on. I mean, I don't have to condemn every time a Muslim misbehave. Yeah. So as an organization, civil rights organization, also you are in the midst of this. So what is the aftermath of this event, and how CAIR is handling this?
Well, CAIR is the leading civil rights organization here in America for Muslims, the Council of American Islamic Relations, an organization that has been on the forefront in responding to issues regarding Islam and American relationships. So I think you bring out a really important point about, have we condemned enough for people to recognize that, when evil is done in any name or in any religion, that's not true. And I think not only in this case where we did condemn right away, and to be honest with you, I think in this time right now, our hearts go out to the victims, the families of those victims, and again, it's another reminder of the gap that we have. That these individuals have nothing to do with Islam. This is, anyone can claim anything.
But say Allahu Akbar before.
Anyone can say anything. But the reality is we need a community. And I'm not talking about just the Muslim community. I'm talking about the world community to recognize that extremism at any level, with any organization, with any affiliation, will be marginalized. Our communities will come together to stamp out that. We don't create a vacuum every time someone claims, I'm doing this in the name of some religion. Because if people start looking around and start saying, is there something in Islam, that's where we get into trouble. And the reality right now is that the whole world has come out, Muslims across the whole entire world, condemning this attack and all the other attacks similar to that. But the reason why you're just kind of finishing up your point, the reason why we're answering these questions and condemning is because people always, ask, why aren't you condemning enough?
But it seems to me it's an enhanced integration techniques. We've been suffering. It's almost a torture for every time something, because you are guilty. It's like they come to you as if you have an insight, a code to understand the mind of a sick criminal or a Muslim. So what I'm saying, what people take on care, that they are very quick in apologizing or condemning and those things, and make the association that that something has to do with we have to go out there and apologize or condemn. And you are working with other issues too. It's a human rights organization, civil rights.
Yeah, we focus on really promoting the greater understanding of Islam in America. At the same time, also advocating for civil rights issues for Muslims. Here, especially even in Minnesota, there was a case that our office was able to push in front of the U.S. Attorney here in Minnesota, and where a mosque was denied to be used in a building that a Muslim organization bought, and that case was very well known in Minnesota. It's the St. Anthony Abu Huraira case. I mean, these are the things that we're working, real things that are happening today. You know, we have many cases very similar to that. We have Muslims who go to work and they ask, "Can I pray?" And the employer says, "No, you can't. We don't want you to pray." You know, this is their civil rights, the right to to pray. So these are the things that we work with. But one thing, and this is going back to that first question, what we realize in our cases, over 200 that we average about a year here in Minnesota alone, our CAIR chapter, is that a lot of the times, if we can get across that level of misunderstanding, everything everything is solved. You know, we could settle with an employer or a different case when they realize that.
So you think the issue is not really racism, is not really bigotry?
Well, racism,
it's a misunderstanding.
Racism, one of the elements of racism that exists is fear of the unknown.
I see what you mean. Okay.
So, I mean, right now, the whole movement that's happening in America right now with the Black Lives Matter and the reawakening of the consciousness of where is the racism in America, and you know, not only in law enforcement but in all other aspects of life, and even sexism. You know, women having equal pay for the same work they do, whether they are you know, an entry level or at a CEO of a corporation. You know, so I think we have a long way to go.
You know, it's interesting, when I first came here, Arabs, and I'm assuming Muslim or not, thought racism is a black issue, and we were invisible.
Yep.
And people were happy, people, you know, Omar Sharif, whatever. Now people look at us as Mullah Omar, not Omar Sharif anymore. And Arabs and Muslims realize it's really racism is their issue too. And now there is a conversion between you know, civil rights movement, blacks, and also the Arab and Muslim getting involved in this.
And I'll give you an example. Right now, the Somali community, which is a large majority of the Muslim community in Minnesota, face three racist areas. Number one, they're African Americans. Number two, they're immigrants. Some of them have limited language proficiency, so that creates a huge vulnerability at work and even just getting basic things. And then the third, of course, is they're Muslim Americans. So this group is facing three of the elements that you're talking about. But I think one of the things that I've learned through the work with CAIR and even before that is we need, the way we move forward is we need the other voices, the Minnesotans, whether they're Caucasians or whoever they are, to stand together with the other communities, with the minority communities, and stand with them. And I'll give you an example. For example, the St. Cloud Mosque was being vandalized, BB gun being shot at it. I mean, created a very unsafe environment for the worshiper. And this is before the French incident and the attacks there. And a Minnesotan, just a regular Minnesotan young lady, went out and she started a campaign that was actually happening across the other parts of the world, where they come and they actually put hearts on the mosque as a way to say, listen, there's people who are going to support you, and there's people who don't believe that that will, you know, pretty much put out hate. So I'm saying, what I'm saying is,
there is good people out there, but I don't see every time something happened to a Muslim or a mosque, we expect, you know, we go and
put hearts
tell our neighbor, you know, did you condemn this?
Yes.
How you doing? Have a nice day. Did you condemn? I mean, we don't have that because we think crime is a crime and we deal with it. But it's always expected of us to get out and condemn it. But for themselves, they don't condemn the atrocity committed against Muslim. You know, in Iraq, in Egypt, civil rights been violated all over the place, in the places where we support their dictators. So I don't see, you know, it seems like there is something missing there.
I think one of the things that we have to recognize, and this is an area that we Muslims in America have a responsibility, and as well as our non-Muslim community members, is the more people are aware about Islam, the more they recognize, oh, by the way, that's not true. And that's the conversation in the homes right now, that maybe we don't have enough. We might have some and it's growing, but not enough. When people hear of someone claiming, by the way, I did this because I'm a Minnesotan. All Minnesotans are going to say no. You know, when someone bombs an abortion clinic and says, by the way, I did this in the name of, you know, my religion. You know, right away people, no, you're a lunatic. You must have some sort of mental issue. When people go on, you know, rampage of killing people and for whatever reason they're doing
that's
it.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody attack, what do you say?
An abortion clinic.
An abortion clinic or attack Atlanta, Columbine or whatever. He's disturbed, deviant. He is psychology. But when a Muslim misbehave and attack, it's sociology. It's a culture. It's Islam. So even if people rise up and engage in discussion, we are losing, because the whole culture is condemned because of the few. But when it comes from the other side, he is just a lunatic. His girlfriend didn't love him enough. So the tendency here to condemn the whole culture is out there.
That's true, and I think it's going back to that issue of, I think, partly ignorance and also partly not willing to accept that you have to think about an issue a little deeper.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at certain issues a little deeper than just, oh, by the way, he has a Muslim name. That automatically means he must have did it.
Intellectual laziness.
Yeah, so I think that part does exist. The other part that I think also is the omitted history. You know, if we just look back and we look at history, we'll start to recognize the value that Muslims have had in everything we do. I mean, I always tell this story to most people. If they just pulled their cell phone and they wanted to dial 0, that's an Islamic invention.
We did the 0.
We got the 0. You can't call.
A lot of people ignore that number.
Yeah, or even the whole numbering system is an
exactly,
Islamic system. So
no, but that's happened a long time ago. But what I'm saying now, I mean, I don't have to accomplish a whole lot of people respect. I mean, I'm a human being and I'm living and I'm doing my things. I'm doing my, you know, there's a lot of Muslims, they do average, regular things and they ignore Al-Qaeda, they ignore the cartoons. They just don't subscribe to the magazine if they don't like. So there's a lot of Muslims doing an average, mundane things. And then when a few extremes, well, the whole culture, the whole group are condemned. But so what CAIR does, and instead of being reactionary, you just act after the fact, before even the event, before the incident, before the bigot event, before the racism happened, what do they do?
We're out there educating people.
Yeah.
We're an advocacy organization, but we're also out there to train people, and that's where we see our greatest success.
Yeah.
And I know that's
not, most of the time.
Yeah, that's where we have to spend. And so we encourage Minnesotans, you know, organizations, community organizations. If you're interested, we're not the only organization that does it. There's many other organizations in Minnesota that go out and educate people about Islam. We need to build those bridges. So as a community, whenever something happens in any community, we are resilient and we work together to stamp out any evil in our community.
What do you expect? We have only half a minute here about the aftermath of the attack.
You know, we like I said, that we hope that you know, people can realize that these individuals are not part of any Islamic tenet. What they did was horrible. It was against humanity. And as we move forward, we need to realize that our communities need to close that gap and not react in a way that it's already been reported that in some mosques have been bombed or a grenade attacked. And so there is fear on both sides. And how we get rid of that fear is for communities to come together. And this is an opportunity time right now to have that.
Would you have a position when somebody wants to have a new permit for a new mosque and say, come on, we have too many mosques? That's enough.
Yeah, I think a new mosque means a growth, and that's something we celebrate. Opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in. I know you have a huge task ahead of you. Good luck with your new position. Jaylani Hussein, the new Executive Director of CAIR, and we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum, and God bless you all.